What up, devil? Sensei Tutum here with another video for you. So today we're gonna hit that traditional Thursday, and I'm gonna give you guys. I'm actually gonna give you for this video an overview of what I think of the price action and the correctiveness, and sort of where we are in the let's say the recession / bear market, at least in equities, if there's ever been a bear market in the equities. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a deep dive and dive into a little bit more of, some things that I'll allude to later in the video for the Discord members. Now, I say Discord members, that means all of the members, the free members, the social members, the educational members, you're all going to get it. So anybody watching this video can see that video. You just have to sign up with the Discord, which, you get a lot of free benefits for being a member, one of which is deep dive videos. Another is access to the white belt course, which in and of itself, to me, in my opinion, we're giving away too much there. You can learn quite a bit of Elliott Wave there in just the white belt course. And of course, we offer an entire suite of courses following the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu system that advance beyond white, well beyond white, in fact. So yeah, and let's look at the chart. So the only reason that I'm zoomed out now is because I want to tell you that basically I think that this corrective move, and depending on your bias and your count, you might have a different count than I do, but I think that we probably agree, right, that the degree of the correction that you have it in, maybe you have us in a 4, maybe you have us in 2, maybe you have us in a 2 at the most grandiose cycle possible, and that this is the end of the world. Still don't think so, but that might be your count. But I think that most of us can agree that we're probably correcting all of this price. And depending on the chart, the indice, the equity, whatever it is that you're looking at, I have at as a 3 or a 2. Now, so I just want to highlight that we're correcting at least a decade plus of price action. So one thing you always have to ask yourself is, have we made an adequate retracement? Well, let's zoom in and talk about it. I guess a big part of that is, when do you think the correction started? Well, I think it started back in 2018 in that December, that pre-Christmas dump, if you guys remember it. I think that's when the correction started. And I think that because I think that this is inarguably a 3-wave move. And we know that we do not advance the trend in 3s. We advance the trend in 5s. I've seen the counts out there. My man Hove, not necessarily on this chart, on the ES, has it as a 5. I just personally think that's a bad count. I think that it's not, every count that you ever do, you're going to have to say, you're going to have to live with some shit, right? You're going to have to live with it because nothing's perfect. There is no, there's almost never an idealized count, right? If you try to find that picture perfect vision of an impulse that you look out of the book, you almost never find it. So you're always going to have to live with something, right? But that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to tell you what you can live with and what you can't. Toots rules. No, I'm just kidding. No, what I personally am able to live with and what I'm not. And there are rules, there's guidelines and things like that, that if the more you know of them, the more you know if you should accept, situation X or situation Y. But anyway, so I think that the correction started here, not here. Now, if you had it starting here, there's no way that you could even probably sniff the possibility that we've corrected enough, right? But anybody who follows me on Twitter, and I'm sure most of you don't, at Sensei Tutum, Tutm. Well, I had posted a chart of this in Q actually about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago at this point. I don't think so. I think it was actually, yeah, it was around the low. Maybe the low hadn't yet been put in here. It was around that time. And basically I made it a case for a completed corrective pattern. That does not mean that the correction is necessarily over, but a completed corrective pattern. And the pattern that I had was one of these. A, B, C. 3-wave B, 3-wave A. This, I contend, is, even with all the circuit breakers, a valid impulse C. Now, we'll talk about that in a second, because I'm sure what's standing out to everybody is, dude, what the hell is this B wave? Well, first, let's go ahead and start with the A. Why not, right? This one's actually pretty easy. I think most people probably could agree that we have a pretty simple, let's see here, go ahead and fix that. We have, what I think we have is a multiple zigzag for an A wave. Totally fine, nothing wrong there, happens all the time. And this is a flat wave for the X. Oops. We break the channel formed by the first impulse, or the first zigzag. Great. It affects a nice retracement. Perfect multiple zigzag. And then I contend that we have here A, B, C for another zigzag. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. And that means that this is a running triangle. When you have a running triangle, B affects a new price extreme relative to the origin of A. Totally fine. Happens all the time. The book would tell you it happens about 40% of the time. Not sure if that's true or not, but that's what the book says. So you would have A, B, C. Draw the trend line connecting the AC. A, B, C, D. Draw the trend line connecting the BD. And then what do you expect? You expect, here, let's go draw this in here real quick. Then you expect a 1-to-1 price relationship for the A and the C. And look at that. You know, fibs are meant to be a rough guide, and that sure is, but it's damn close to 1-to-1. So to me, this is a perfect zigzag. And what scenarios would you have a zigzag that would advance the trend like this, which it doesn't really advance the trend? Well, you'd have to have a flat wave, right? Now, what do we know about, you know, I'm sure you guys are still all caught up on the length of this B. What do we know about the length that B should be? Now, this is where the having to accept something in our count comes up for today. You take the length of A from the B origin, and it should not be greater than 2 times the length of A. Look at that. It is slightly longer than 2 times. Now, is this a rule like the hard and fast 3 main rules of Elliott Wave? That wave 2 shall not go beyond the start of wave 1. Wave 4 should not encroach into the price territory of wave 1. And let's see, what's the other one? Yeah, I'm having a brain fart. Oh, and wave 3 can't be the shortest wave. Is it though? Is it on that level? Absolutely not. So in this case, I'm having to accept it. Do I love it? No. Now, you might also be saying to yourself, well, Toot, that's a really short C too. Well, yeah, it is. But even with all these circuit breakers in here, and believe me, without those circuit breakers, I think this might look something more like this. I'll be real honest. This would be a much deeper C wave that would give me much more confidence that I could potentially say the bottom of the equities was in. Of course, you know, manipulation. We always cry about, well, I don't, but many people always complain about manipulation in the crypto markets. Well, let me tell you, folks, they're in the equities markets too, if not worse. Probably worse because there's more damn money there. Wherever there's money, there's fuckery. And any analysis technique that you use should be able to take fuckery into account, and Elliott Wave certainly does so. But when you have those circuit breakers, it does make it hard because, you know, you can't measure what isn't there. I'm pretty sure there's no analysis techniques that take that into account. But again, I would contend that this would be deeper, though even at this depth, what do we know about the length of C in a running flat or any truncation? You know, because a running flat, the C is truncated, right? That it should be at least 80% of the wave it's preceding. Well, in this case, look at that. Just past the 80% mark. What, 786, you know, and it wicks through it, and that's basically 80%. You know, I use fib numbers. Anyway, yeah, so it's still valid. It's still in bounds. The only real problem with this count, circuit breakers and all, is that this B is just a little bit longer than you want it to be. Now, it's way outside the, you know, the length of norms. Sure, it's funky. It is super funk, but it's, so you know, also is funky, a 10-year bull market. So, you know, There's funk in the world. But what do we have to, let's just go ahead and get over to the hard right edge now that we've all gotten over that. We won't go down below the daily in this video. Again, we're going to do a deep dive directly after this and expand on some of the stuff I'm going to talk about here. But with this, what we're going to accept is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is an ending diagonal. And even with all the circuit breakers, we're going to go ahead and call it that, because what do we get out of it? It looks like an ending diagonal if we get in and analyze it closer. But also, we quickly retrace the length of the ending diagonal, absolutely. And then we, come up out of it. Now, the question again is, have we created an effective enough retracement of what we're correcting? And I don't think we have yet. And I've said that, a few weeks ago on my YouTube channel, and I still believe that now. Same with Bitcoin, even up to the halving. I figured we might, moon up to there, but we need to see some more corrective times, especially in equities. Bitcoin is a totally different monster. We won't even talk about that right now. So how would that happen? What would we need to play out in order to see that? Well, we just simply need to have this turn into a combination. We've put in a simple 3-wave corrective move, check, and then you put in a 3-wave X, and then you put in another 3-wave corrective move, and that's a combination. What do we know about X waves? They are typically sucker waves, making them the most steep wave in the corrective move. I'd say check, quite steep here compared to this very long to play out, even though we had a steep C and a pretty steep A. But with this long to play out B, this flat is very, gradual and slow. This, very sharp. What else do we know? Well, we also know that it must be at least 90% the previous wave. Well, now, if you're measuring the C, we don't make it. If you're measuring the entire, length of the flat, which is essentially the A low to the B high, you do just get it, but really we should just focus on the C. And it's a little short. We don't quite get it. It's close. So what else do we know about an X wave? It must be 3-wave structure, or 7, because that's technically an extended corrective move, or even it's 3, it's 7, it's 11. Just add 4, right? In this case, you can make the case that you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-wave move, right? But we also know that the X wave of a multiple zigzag, which this is, and which our proposed X would be, should break the channel formed by the first, and this is a guideline, by the way, by the first zigzag, and we don't do that here. Not to mention these zigzags are much shorter than these zigzags, and other things. So what are the other options you could potentially have? Well, you could potentially have this as an impulse, something, I don't know, something like that, potentially. But damn, but you don't think the bottom is in. Well, what does that mean, guys? It means that you would have to correct, and then go up again. And then you could potentially have another flat to finish your combination. And this happens. You get, a lot of times you'll see different patterns within corrective combinations, but flat, certainly possible. And this B here would not be nearly as out of bounds. You might, to get to the 2, 3, 6, not nearly all that uncommon. But to get something like this could easily happen. Now, the question is, do we really think that this is a corrective move so that it's potentially finishing here to have a finished X and then a flat? Or do we think that this is, an impulsive move that would have to give us then a zigzag to here, and then, I drew that wrong, by the way. It'd have to, do we think it's going to give us a zigzag to here, and then maybe another flat, triangle? It could give you a flat, a triangle. It could give you a zigzag, any simple corrective move. Do we think that this is very important, right? Do we think that we're going to get this, or do we think that we're going to get, something like, I don't know, say that the X is done here. Do we think we're going to get this? That could also finish this out. Well, let's go ahead and do a deep dive and talk about it. All right, guys. Anybody who doesn't follow me over, don't know why you wouldn't, but toot out.